All right, we are live. Hello, everyone, and welcome to the fourth Tezos Town Hall. I'm Cryptonio, and today we'll be looking into one of the most exciting and rapidly growing sectors in the Tezos ecosystem, which is gaming. Gaming on Tezos is not just about playing, it's about redefining the way developers create, how players engage, and in general, how communities thrive with tools like Etherlink, ultra low transaction fees, and upgradable technology. Tezos is basically carving out a unique space in the gaming world by making blockchain gaming more accessible, scalable, and most importantly, fun. Over the past year, we've seen a lot of gaming projects announced, and many of them already integrating Tezos and its powerful Layer 2 solution, Etherlink. Two of these projects, Pikes Arena and Sugarverse, have joined us today. We'll get to them in a bit to share how blockchain can elevate the gaming experience for developers and players alike. So, without further ado, let's meet the fantastic panel of guests joining us today. Uh, I would like to start with Damien. Damien, would you like to introduce yourself?
Sure. Thanks a lot, Cryptonio, and hi everyone, and thanks again for hosting us on the Tezos Town Hall today. So I'm Damien. I'm the CMO of Sugarverse. Got a background in mostly Web3 gaming for the past like 3, 4 years, 4 years, yeah. And before that, I was an entrepreneur in the tech field and a bit of a fashion industry as well.
That's awesome. That's awesome. Good to have you here, Damien. Next up, Andrei. Would you like to also introduce yourself?
Yes, hello everyone. First of all, thank you for inviting me. It's a first for me and I'm quite excited to be here. I'm Andrei-Catalin Duminica and I am the director of Alset Studio. Alset Studio is a company in Serbia, in the capital city of Belgrade. About me personally, I have around 8 years of experience in the gaming industry. And I've joined Alset around 1 year and I'm happily collaborating with Tezos.
That's great to hear, and we are excited to have you as well. Next up, Jeremy. Most people in the test community know you already, but yeah, please do introduce yourself.
Hey everyone, it's great to be back. So I've been part of the Tezos ecosystem for the last slightly more than 2 years now. My role is primarily to grow gaming on both Tezos as well as our layer Etherlink. And a quick background about myself: I've worked in games for a better part of a decade, working on games like League of Legends, Garena Free Fire, leading strategic investments into game studios as well. So really excited to bring some real games like Sugarverse and Pikes Arena and help them succeed and get lots of players to enjoy them.
It's awesome. Awesome. Last but not least, my friend Efe. How are you, Efe? Would you like to also introduce yourself?
I'm doing great. Nice to talk with you again, Cryptonio, and nice to be here. So I'm working as a product manager in Trilitech. I've joined the Tezos ecosystem about 2 years ago now. My main responsibility is basically helping games and game developers to build easily and better on Tezos. And my background is completely consist in gaming. I've worked in gaming my whole life. I had my own game studio in the past. Worked both as a game designer and an overall kind of business developer. So yeah, it's amazing to be here.
Awesome. That's great. That's great. Thank you all for being here. Let's jump right into it and explore how Tezos is trying to redefine the gaming world. And I'd like to start with Jeremy. I have some questions for you first, and I would like to talk about Tezos in gaming. Like, can you give us an overview of why Tezos stands out as a blockchain for gaming? What makes it special?
Sure, definitely. So the way I think about it is that there's kind of two things that matter to game developers. One is the technical side of things, and the other is the commercial side. So on the technical side, I think Tezos and the EVM compatible layer Etherlink are both extremely stable and also have been operating for almost 5 years without any major hacks or crashes for Tezos. So when you're building on top of Tezos, you know that you're building on something that's designed to be stable and to last, and you never have to worry that things go down and your players are not able to enjoy your game. At the same time, there's self-governance baked into the Tezos protocol. So anytime there's an opportunity to upgrade and really keep up with the new technologies that are launching. We're able to do so as well. So we make sure that the Tezos protocol and the blockchain is competitive and up to date with fast finality and low gas fees. Again, which is exactly what both developers and players want. On the commercial side, it's just as important. So I think we have a very focused strategy. Again, some learnings from my time running successful games back in the day, League of Legends and Free Fire, and that you need to really focus on a small number of high quality games and then support them and make sure that they succeed. So we've kind of pioneered quite a focused approach, focusing on a small number of high quality games like Sugarverse and Pikes Arena, and then working very closely with them on the technical side of things, strategy, marketing, and the funding and fundraising side as well. So I think the combination of strong technical support and the base technology, as well as good commercial support, I think combines to make us the chain of choice for high quality games.
That makes total sense, to be honest. And you mentioned the upgradability, seamless upgradability, and low transaction fees. How do those things make it ideal for game developers? Like, why are they important for gaming developers?
So I think the low transaction fees, and I think a side part of it is like fast finality, etc. as well, is incredibly important for two reasons. One is that if the gas fees are low, it means that you can bring more of the game on chain. You can also allow players to transact more on chain as well. You can really bake this on-chain mechanisms more deeply into your games. So again, Tezos has incredibly low gas fees, and Etherlink has even lower gas fees. So it enables players and developers to design mechanisms that have hundreds of thousands, if not millions, of transactions every day, and still end up paying less than $100 in gas. And then on the seamless upgradability side, again, there's new technologies being developed all the time. And so by having self-governance and upgradability, it means that Tezos will not get left behind. You never have to worry about building on an obsolete chain. We'll always have be able to upgrade ourselves and have the latest technology. So we will always be competitive in terms of, again, the things that matter to game developers, which is low transaction fees and fast finality and high throughput as well.
Yeah, that's important. And never left behind, right? Never stop evolving. So that's a great point as well. So what about the Tezos ecosystem, the developers, the players, and the communities? Do they play any role in the gaming space? And if yes, what is that role?
Absolutely. So on the developer side, I think it's quite obvious. So Sugarverse, building an amazing Web3 match 3 game, and then Pikes Arena doing a casual kind of Pikes.io style game where you can socially wager against your friends as well. So the developers ultimately bring great content into our ecosystem, which is the way which onboards new users, right? So when you have great content, new users want to come in and try those things, and that's how we succeed. I think the role of the community is really important as well. I think that's one of the huge benefits of the blockchain. So by supporting these games, telling your friends about them, really introducing and cheering them on almost from the beginning, so that there's this initial critical mass of players. I think that's incredibly important. So the role of the community and how we appreciate the community is when they're open-minded and supportive of these games that are entering our ecosystem, and then just giving them a fair shot, trying them out, playing it together with their friends. I think we're always extremely appreciative for that.
Right. Yeah, that makes sense. And I mentioned, that in the past year we had a lot of announcements of gaming projects, and that we had a lot of integrations already. Could you maybe share some examples of games that launched on Tezos and like what made them stand out? Because we have here today Sugarverse and Pikes Arena, but I bet there are more of them. So could you share some examples?
Yeah, definitely. So I think I'll definitely let Sugarverse and Pikes Arena share about their own stories. But maybe two other ones which I would highlight would be Kindred, which are AI companions that are made unique because each of these companions are on the blockchain. So you actually have a digital companion that is unique to yourself. So I think that was a very exciting experiment, and we're excited to continue exploring with them as well. The second one I'll talk about a bit is Stables. It's a horse racing game, officially partnered with the PMU, which is the largest kind of betting government agency in France. And they're bringing these horses from live races on chain, so you can own kind of the digital counterparts and race them as well. So that's really exciting. I think they just launched their play to earn mechanism as well, and it's also more new player and free to play player friendly. So those are the two that I think we've launched quite successfully.
Awesome. Yeah, and that's really cool with the stables and the horses. All right. So before I move on to our next guest, I've often seen you and others use the term GGTZ. What does it mean? Where does it come from? Could you explain?
Yeah, sounds good. So yeah, I think it's just a very catchy kind of sounding phrase. There's when I played League of Legends, I was actually a pretty top player. I was on diamond ranked when I used to play. I'm no longer diamond ranked, but I used to be. When you finish the game, sometimes there was something you could say at the end, which was GG, which is like good game. And sometimes if you want to be a bit bad-mannered, you could say GG easy, which was like, it was a very easy game to win. So we felt like, hey, with Tezos being TZ, it sounded like a nice way to append it on top, and it's like GGTZ is very catchy. But I think ultimately, on a more serious note as well, that it's it's a bit about the ethos of the Tezos community, where we're finding good games, like genuinely good games. Typically the partners we work with, we always make sure they have a working and fun prototype before we work with them, before they launch tokens or NFTs. We always make sure that things are there. There's no vaporware. They're actually good games, right? So ultimately, the GGTZ is focused on good games on Tezos, and the good games part is really important for us.
Yeah, that's great, man. And yeah, GGTZ, Jeremy, in that case. And yeah, I'll move on to my friend Efe, and I would like to ask you about the developer-centric approach on Tezos, first of all. Like, for example, we know that Tezos Foundation provides grants and strategic investments. How do these support gaming projects like Pikes Arena, Sugarverse, and others?
Of course. So I think also based on our prior discussions or any kind of world of startups and entrepreneurship, having funding in early stages is just crucial, right? If you take a look at the Web3 space, especially in the past, most of the projects didn't have initial funding, so they had to do a token release before even releasing out the game, which in the end, of course, resulted in a failure. So if you have early stage funding from the Tezos Foundation, that's basically a huge game changer for most of the projects that we work with, right? So they basically don't have to worry about financials anymore to build a successful and sustainable game, and then they are already able to kickstart it with that budget, so that they can actually push the boundaries and actually focus on the game without worrying about early stage funding. So I think that's very important for especially high potential gaming projects.
Yeah, I would agree. And I've also read about sequence SDKs, and I want to ask you, like, how do sequence SDKs on Etherlink help developers transition smoothly from an idea that they might have to actually executing it, on chain?
Of course. So especially on Etherlink, I think we have two very strong developer tooling. The first one is Sequence, which is extremely popular by most of the game developers, rightfully, because it truly is a great SDK. It has probably all the features you need, I would say, whether you want to build a kind of Web3 abstracted game where the blockchain component is more silent for the players happening in the background, or you want to build something more where in-game you can do lots of in-game actions without actually leaving the game and so forth. So in terms of developing a game on Etherlink, I think Sequence is an amazing option. And I think secondly, you have Third Web, which is also compatible with Etherlink. I think Third Web is also doing a great job, not only in games, but you will see lots of dApps in general, like from marketplaces to taxes. You will see them using Third Web. So I think these two really simplifies the game development kind of streamlined. They are quite plug and play, which is I really like them, and most of the game developers like them too. And I think as a third option, you still have Tezos Unity SDK, right? So yes, Tezos Unity SDK originally came out on Tezos L1, but right now it's actually also compatible with Etherlink. Documentation is in progress, by the way, so it should be released in 2 weeks fully. Which means that you can actually switch back and forth from Tezos L1 to Etherlink if you are using Tezos Unity SDK already, or let's say you want to build or you want to have an open source solution that you want to customize, you can also use Tezos Unity SDK. So I think in terms of like technical solutions, you have a lot of different options, tailored to what you need.
Yeah, it's good to hear, because 2 years ago, 3 years ago, there were basically zero options in general in the space, and now just on Tezos we have like 3 different options for developers to choose. That's amazing. Yeah.
I'm going to jump in quickly here. I think we have one
Yeah,
more as
sure.
well, that's like the Telegram SDK. So we now see a lot of like dApps launching on Telegram
Upgrade.
because that's a very exciting distribution channel. So we've worked with one of the top developers, SoftStack, in order to build a Telegram SDK. It's very close to completion as well. And we are very excited to have a couple of dApps on Telegram launching built on Tezos.
That's awesome. Is it gonna be on the Tezos layer 1 or also on Etherlink, or only on Etherlink?
It's interchangeable, so developers can pick which one they want to launch on.
Awesome. Good to know. Great. So Efe, coming back to you, how does Tezos infrastructure allow developers to focus on innovation while handling the scalability part and the security part? Because I bet those are important things for the developers, right? To know that they are there.
Of course. So I think I will echo Jeremy a little bit here, right? Basically, the Tezos protocol take cares of the hard stuff for you, like from scalability to security to actually being upgraded all the time to follow the latest technology trends. So again, developers can actually focus on building a great game. Like if you think about it, if you think about what we do here, we talk about technical solutions, we talk about grants and funding, and we talk about the chain itself. Everything is literally built for game developers to focus on their games. Like the network itself is kind of, the ecosystem itself is taking care of the rest, right? So that's very important. And this infrastructure basically allows developers to build their games, their smart contracts, any on-chain features they have with kind of complete trust on the protocol, right? If you take a look at any other chain, there are either centralization issues or outage issues. So Tezos never had any of them. It's one of the true blockchains, I would say. And if you take a look at Pikes Arena, for example, the whole kind of social wagering, tournament, prize pool distribution part is handling on the blockchain on a smart contract, never failed before, and it keeps upgrading. So what's better than that? So they can basically focus on the game while the protocol itself is running the integral part of the game, which is monetization in this scenario. So I think that's why it's very important, because Tezos actually allows developers to kind of focus on refining their games rather than getting bogged down by blockchain complexities.
That makes total sense. Yeah. So we talked about the Unity SDK, the Sequence SDK, and the Telegram SDK, as Jeremy mentioned. But I wanted to ask, are there any other example of tools or support systems that have made a difference for game developers?
I think, as you said, a long time ago, there weren't many tooling in the ecosystem. So whenever one of the OGs come and talk to me right now, they are like amazed most of the time, which is great to hear. They're like, oh, what the hell? I didn't know we had this. So why am I working on this like this? So I think especially, Unity SDK made a big difference for that. And I think the good part about Etherlink is, since it's EVM based, we have access to lots of already EVM based tools. They are really easy to integrate with Etherlink, and we've already partnered with the 2 largest providers, right? Third Web and Sequence, which are they are big companies and they've been working on their products for a while. So I think that's also a very, very, very big plus. It's a great experience. And in terms of examples, you said for Tezos Unity SDK on L1, we already have 2 example games. Anyone basically can check our documentation at Tezos, docs.tezos.com, and then the Unity SDK section. And for Etherlink, there are already example projects and repos of third web and sequence, but by Q1 next year we also plan to deliver an example project on Etherlink and actually put it live in a playable state as well for developers to review.
Nice. Okay, and last question for now. How has Tezos hands-on support helped developers with both on-chain and in-game mechanics? Because I know you offer hands-on support, right?
Yeah, so I think probably Andrei will be answering this better than me, to be honest, because he works with our developers a lot. I think a big plus of our team is we have two senior Unity developers, right? They both worked in SDKs and game development itself in the past, which allows us to be really hands-on. It's not like you go on Asana, create a ticket for us, and we respond to you in a week. It's definitely not like that. Since we are a very, very focused team, we are always directly involved. We are always in the Slack channels. They can reach out to us 7/24. And most of the times, if the team is comfortable with that, we also request access to code base even, so that we can directly help them develop any custom solutions they need or any bugs that they face. So I would say I'm very, very proud of my team, as also is clearly seen on the feedback from the developers that we are working with. We are actually hands-on. It's just not a buzzword. I would say we act as a part of the team, including myself. I think that's one of the things I told Andrei, the Pakistani team, Alexander, another member of the team. Literally, I think in our first month of working, I said, look, just see me as your employee. Tell me what you need. Tell me what you need to unblock, and we act like that. We act as one team. It's not like we are just partners, but I'm actually a part of their team. That's how I see myself, and that's how they should see me, so that we can actually be hands-on and do whatever we can to make them successful.
This is great, man. This is great, and yeah, I think not only the feedback from the developers, but also the results, like the so many different games that have been announced the past year, kind of speak for themselves on that point. Yeah. So yeah, great job and keep it up for sure.
Thank you.
All right, time to move over to Sugarverse and Damien. Damien, can you introduce us to Sugarverse and its unique features?
Definitely. So where to start? There is a lot to say about Sugarverse. So basically, at the beginning, maybe we can come back to the idea. Sugarverse is a joint venture between Alset Software, which is one of the top mobile game studio of Eastern Europe, and two individuals, which are our co-founder, Philip and Nikolai. So Alset Software is a mobile game studio that has been developing game for the past 20 years. They have over 60 million players. They developed over 10 games for the past 20 years. So they know what they're doing, and they've been doing it for a while. And Philip and Nikolai are two entrepreneurs that have been working for the past 10 years as well in the tech industry. They had very good companies that they founded and that bring to their success. So they met, and one day they decided to do, okay, you know what? Let's do something together, right? Because Alset Software has been working Web2 for a while. Nicola and Philip has been working in the tech industry and also are involved into Web3 for the past 7 years. And it was just a result of their collaboration that created Sugarverse. So to give you a bit of context, Nikolai, which is our CEO, has a 7 years background in the betting and gambling industry. And Philip has been the CEO and co-founder of multiple well-lead entrepreneur. A lot of companies and stuff. So together, they wanted to tackle the biggest issue of those Web3 game. And I think that what was the main issue right now that we've seen for the past 2-3 years and a half was the tokenomics, right? Because we've seen a big wave of play-to-earn games coming in the industry, and it worked. It worked very well when we see either Steppen or all those big games that we've seen exploding during the last bull run. But the second, where all this volume stopped going into the industry, etc., we've seen their market cap, the token, and therefore the product, because you need a lot of people in order to push a product higher and higher, better and better. So we've seen it decrease, right? And I
Yeah.
think that was the main issue. So what I've been done, I think I'm going a bit too fast on all your question. Let me know if
Well,
you want.
that's okay. That's okay. No, don't worry. You mentioned about those games, and I would add that they were probably more DeFi than actually games. So they had more focus on the DeFi side than the game itself. So yeah, they went really down afterwards. But yeah, keep going, keep explaining.
Yeah. No, yeah. You touch a very good point here, that it was like more of a DeFi mechanism that were underlaying a layer of gaming. And I think that with Sugarverse, what we're really trying to do is to put the gaming at the center of the whole ecosystem and adding a layer on top that is Web3. So the core part is Web2, pure Web2 mobile game that works. We are, as you mentioned, we're doing a match 3 game. So just
Mhm.
for you guys to know, Sugarverse is a 5-game saga, right? So
All right.
we're here to stay on long term. But the first game that we're doing is called Sugar Match, which is a match 3 game based. So what we did is that we took gameplay that works, that are tested, that we know that works and that people enjoy, right? So, and on top of that, we added a layer that is different, which is the tokenomics that we created, incorporated into Web3, because
Mhm.
it's a mix of traditional gaming tokenomics and also gambling/betting economy loop. So how it works? So you have all the traditional economy that you can find in any game, with hard currency, soft currency, with some loop inside where you can spend the soft currency that you get in game to get either bonuses or to buy NFTs, etc. But on top of that, we wanted to make sure that we still have interesting gains, like profit to be made for our players, right? If not, we'll just have done a Web2 game. So we decided to implement what is often done in the casino gambling betting industry, which is only rewarding the best players. You don't go to a casino, play poker, and earn a lot if you're bad at it. It's gonna be the
Yeah,
same with
you
Sugar
gotta
Match.
win. Yeah.
So how it works, that people will have to really practice, right? You have a PVM and PVE and PvP um, type of game. You can
Mhm.
practice as long as you want in the PvE in order for you to grow your skills to become better and better. And once you're ready to go in PvP, it's where you'll be able to start competing against other and therefore generate profit if you're good. So there is a whole part of the economy that is skills based, right? So you
Mhm.
need to be the best at it, you need to beat your opponent, and there is a top player that is more on the luck, and it's where the casino and gambling industry come in. So
Yeah, I will
basically,
also add, sorry, I will also add that adding the profit part, the earning part to the PvP side, it also helps to fight off the farm bots that we usually see on many games, right? So it helps with that as well, in my opinion. Like you have to have skill to get actually the earnings, which is great, great.
yeah,
If I
definitely.
may go to the next question, which is like, what advantages has Sugarverse experienced by building on Tezos and leveraging Etherlink more specifically?
Definitely. I'll say I've worked with many blockchain in the past, like for the past 4 years. Won't give name, but like a lot of blockchain, and I
Okay.
can say 100% that there is no blockchain, no team that accompany the project that are building on their chain as much as you guys are doing. Like really, I mean, like constant contact with your team, and this is something that I've never seen anywhere else. And your team like Tezos or Ethelink are always pushing for us, helping us with connections, or also giving like some advices extra. And this also is the main point that we chose you guys to work with, and yeah, like
That's
you rarely
amazing.
see
Yeah,
that in Web3.
that's the hands-on support that we were discussing earlier with Efe, I suppose. And yeah, really, really, really great to hear it from you, coming from you, from a project that is building actually and has seen other chains as well. But yeah, so for my next question, I would like to ask you: at what stage is the development of the game currently in, and what is the roadmap moving forward?
Definitely. So right now, so the game has been under development for the past year. We have like the main gameplay that is already built. You can already see the game, how it's gonna work. We also have like getting the last detail about the backend, connecting to Etherlink, etc. So yeah, we have, I would say, like the core gameplay, and what's left to do is mainly like we just have like a few more bonuses, a few more mechanic, and a bit of level design to finish. But the game is at a pretty advanced stage right now.
Awesome. And I think you also have an open beta recently announced, right? Like people can already download it on their phones and try it out.
Yeah, definitely. So we have an open beta for 1 week. I think we opened it last week, so
Yeah.
people can already play the game. I mean, the beta. So it's for people to really see the product, to see what it's gonna be. What you see, guys, on the beta is only like maybe 30% of what the whole game will be in Q1. If you want to play the beta, you can directly go to our Twitter on Sugarverse, click the link in bio, and you'll get like all the link there, either for iOS or Android. You can check that.
That's awesome. That's awesome. Thank you so much for all this info and those answers. Andre, I had you waiting so much. I apologize, but we are finally here. So, what about you introducing us to Pikes Arena and its key gameplay mechanics? Like, what is Pikes Arena? How does it work? Please let us know.
Sure thing. Yes, Parks Arena. It's a game that we've been working on for around 1 year now, alongside our colleagues from Tezos. The game currently is in open testing on Android and WebGL. Users can enter the store on Google and the WebGL through our web page and play the game, test it out, see if they like it. It's a fairly simple game. It's a somewhat it has a competitive aspect. It has a competitive aspect. It's let's say competitive IO type of game where you control a pikeman that you see from above. You move around, you gather resources, food, grow in size. The more resources you gather, the bigger you are, the longer your weapon. And the main idea of the game is to pike, kill, defeat other users in that game session. It has two game modes. It has a free-for-all game mode, which essentially serves a bit like a tutorial type of game mode to get users accustomed to the gameplay, to the mechanics, to how the game feels and what you need to do to win. In this game mode, you have it's an endless session with bots also, but also with other users. You don't stake anything, you don't bet anything, you just enter it normally. And here you play around the game, you see how it feels and what you need to do to defeat other bots users. The more resources you gather, the bigger you are, and the bigger you are, the longer the reach of your pikeman that you are controlling. It's similar to Agar IO. It's a fairly popular game, at least it was. The moment your pikeman has made the collision with a different pikeman, you kill that individual, you defeat that player.
You get the resources as well.
Yes, after you kill them, they also leave some resources that you pick up. You go again larger in size. Mostly for currently, as the game is, it's mostly to get the hang of the game, and also for some achievements that we've just released in the latest build. But now the main feature of the game is the second game mode, which is a battle royale mode. In this game, users from 2 to 10 players need to bet on themselves to stake 1 XTZ, 1 Tezos, to buy a ticket to enter this game mode. As soon as you have at least 2 players in the lobby, the game starts. All the other players also betted 1 Tezos. This mode doesn't have any bots; it's only other users. So it's full player versus player environment. An additional component versus the free-for-all mode, you have a ring that is shrinking, standard battle royale mechanic, so that you're not just going to run away and avoid combat and whatnot. And after, if you manage to pike and defeat all the other users from that game session, you win all the Tezos that was staked by the other users, that was betted by the other users, minus a house cut from Alset, around 10% that Alset is getting, the studio. I think this is great. I think it's great. Yes?
No, I was saying that that's great, and I'm not gonna lie. I actually tried the game. I played both modes and had a lot of fun. I actually grew so much at some point, and then I suddenly lost to like a tiny pikesman who was like a fly, and I never saw him. So it was pretty fun. It was pretty fun, honestly.
Yes, I'm really happy that you enjoyed
Yeah,
it.
yeah. Okay, so I would like to ask you the same question I asked to Damien, actually. Like, what specific benefits have you experienced by developing on Tezos?
Yes, developing on Tezos. First of all, working with people from the Tezos blockchain has been amazing. I have only good things to say. I've been working closely with Efe. They really are hands-on. They are not just exaggerating or saying these things. They are at a message away. Very easy to get in touch with them. Very direct communication. They have a very good development team that is helping us with the SDK. Again, they are also very easy to approach and pretty fast. Yeah, pretty fast. Besides that, which is a pretty important thing. It also adds. I mean, we are a traditional gaming studio. Yeah, we are pretty. We tried in the past with NFTs a bit in one of the game, but it comes back again to what I said initially. Me personally, I don't have that much experience in the Web3 space. Yeah, and I have had and still have so many questions about things related to Web3. And Efe and the guys are really helpful and really straightforward, and they never shy from answering any question, and they share a lot of knowledge and advice. And it's been good. One additional thing that I want to say is the fact that being on Web3, it's you play that battle royale mode, and I stake 1 Tezos. And if I'm really good at the game, and I play against another 2, 5, 10 people. Currently, it's between 2 and 10, but this can change. We are still thinking about gameplay and how it can move forward nicely in the future. If I'm good enough, I win that Tezos. Yes, Alset is getting a cut, but I win that Tezos based on how good I am in the game. And the game is fairly simple, and I really enjoy that.
Yeah, that makes sense. And I would love to play against more players. I only played heads to heads, with another player, so 2 players. But I would love to see the battle royale with like 5 players or 10 players at some point. We need to definitely try it, maybe all together. I don't know. But all right. So, could you tell us, are there any upcoming features or updates for Pikes Arena that you could share with us?
We are currently being focused. We are focusing a lot on making sure that what we have now is working properly. We want everybody wants to have a very smooth gameplay and everything to feel natural, and not to have the impression that the game was laggy or something happened and I lost my Tezos and I don't like that. And we really want everything regarding the core features of the game to be as smooth and to work as good as possible. We're focusing on that with our Tezos partners. We just released some new features in the latest build. We have some achievements. We have in-app purchases that are Web3. You get them through the Android store. You can get some skins. And in the future, a bit short term, we are looking to gather more users to talk with different partners. Again, the help of Tezos, gather more users to play the game, see how they like it, organize some play nights, some play sessions with us, the developers and users, ask some questions, see what the community is saying. We open a Discord channel, and we've noticed how engaged people are, both in the Discord that we opened and also in the Discord that Tezos is managing, how engaged the community is, and we really want to listen to them to see. One user there shared the feedback of, initially we had the gems instead of the Tezos symbol. When you connected your wallet, you had a gem symbol. And the user said that, hey guys, this is a bit confusing because it's not a gem, it's Tezos. It's like, and I thought you airdropped me some tokens, but actually it was his Tezos from his wallet. And everybody from the team here was like, oh yeah, man, yeah, it's not some random gems. It's actually the Tezos from that person's wallet. So we changed that. So we try to be aligned with what the people say, if it makes sense from our point also, of course. And and we'll see how things go. At the beginning of next year, we'll see how things go, again with in collaboration with Tezos.
Yeah, develop as we go.
Yes, exactly.
That makes sense. All right, thank you so much, Andrei. That again, I played it, I loved it. It's pretty fun. I encourage everybody to try it out, and yeah, I can't wait, to play against more people. Going back to Efe for a second here, and I would like to ask you, can you share examples of how games like Pikes Arena and Sugarverse use Tezos or Etherlink technically to enhance the gameplay, like some gameplay mechanisms maybe that are on chain that actually help to enhance the gameplay?
Yeah, of course. So I think for both games we can talk about the prize pools and the betting aspect, right? The both games actually, like both Sugarverse and Pikes Arena, they reward the good players, and they can easily do this through a blockchain. So if you think about, if you were to build this in a centralized environment, basically, first of all, you would probably need other regulatory licenses. But other than that, the second important thing is that as this is happening through a smart contract on a blockchain, for example, for Pikes Arena, the prize pool is automatically managed and distributed on the blockchain. So these things have two very, very positive kind of aspects. First of all, again, the decentralization of things. So it's not a person who's, okay, give me your one tez and I will hold it for you and I will decide. It's actually the game and the smart contract deciding and then distributing everyone equally. Second thing, the transparency aspect is amazing, right? Like you can literally right now go on the TZKT or whatever, and then you can check the smart contract of the game. You can see how many people have played, who is in profit, who is in loss. You can literally see that, which is amazing. Just to think about that, you can see everything. What's happening on the game, how many people are playing, and so forth. So I think therefore using blockchain in such mechanics is just a great idea. It gives more power to players and people who want to try the game because they can see what's going on. And for developers, it's just much simpler because the smart contract handles everything. So you can focus on the game, fixing issues with the game, and increasing the features.
That makes sense, yeah. And as you said, you have zero doubts that the game developers, did anything shady to or favored any other players, like we used to
you can
wonder in all servers, games, and everything. Yeah, that was fun. Yeah. All right, and I would also like to ask you. Oh, wait! First of all, there was a question in the community from Miguel who asked Andrei if there is a neta for that, for what you mentioned, an estimate.
A neta for that? Okay, I don't know exactly for what, but the game is live. In case it is a question related to when the game is out, the game is live. You can get it through Android store or through our website WebGL, the browser, and play it in the browser mode. And in case it's about the events that we are planning to do a game session night with us and the users, as I was saying, in the first week of December. I'm gonna be letting everybody know about when and how to join, probably through Twitter. And And yeah, I
Awesome.
hope I answered.
I think it answers it. Yeah. Okay, and back again to Efe. Efe, I would also like to ask you, how does Tezos handle the technical demands of modern gaming, including the EVM compatibility, the efficient transactions? We have a lot of microtransactions needed in many cases, and generally the robust smart contracts and everything.
So I think it'll first of all it'll be a bit of a cliche answer, but let's take a look at things objectively, right? We've been talking for 45 minutes, and 70% of the answer was people. So I need to answer the same before we do anything. It's about the people. Why? First of all of these amazing developers that we work with, Sugarverse, Alset Studios, and many, many more, we keep getting constant feedbacks from them. So that's the number one thing. That's how we are able to keep up with the latest tech, because we worked with the developers directly so that we understand what's actually needed in the space. That's the first thing. Second thing, the whole Tezos community. It's always everyone is talking about Tezos on X and what's going well, what's going wrong. So that you can actually pinpoint a few things if you want to build something on Tezos, or you are looking to make a protocol change and make the chain better. In the end, it's people who decide. It's people who let you know what needed to be built on Tezos and how it needs to evolve. And again, it's the people who decide on that. And again, it's the people who build that. So, like, there are lots of builders in the community, along with, again, like teams like Trilitech, Nomadic Labs. We are all working towards the same goal. But in the end, who decides what needs to be built is the community themselves. So to recap everything, that's how we keep up. That's basically how we keep up. We listen to developers, to what they need, and then we focus our priorities, with the whole development team and everything.
That's awesome. Yeah, because you need to keep listening to the feedback. That's who you are building for, right? Like, so absolutely. All right, so I had a bunch of questions around the infrastructure and the technical side of stuff, but I think you've covered everything already with previous questions. So I'd like us to go in some questions that will be open for everybody. I would like to see the point of view of each one of you, for example. And the first question would be, what do you think gamers are hungry for in upcoming games? And maybe we could start with Jeremy, who hasn't talked for a while.
Sounds good. I think the way that I think about it is that there's kind of two paths to success. The very first path is taking existing, a really good Web2 game and then layering on some meaningful Web3 integrations on top of it. So we see some of this in the case of interoperability, where you're buying an NFT that can be used in different experiences. So Sugarverse, for example, with the 5 games in their pipeline, the NFTs will have some use across all 5 games. So you're essentially getting a 5-for-1 deal. And also, this also opens up to a broader ecosystem. So assuming Sugarverse becomes the next Candy Crush or Web3, then other people might say, hey, we want to build on top of this as well. We want to leverage the users that this game already has. And so they might choose to build and provide some benefits to these NFT holders as well. So that I think is super exciting. The second one would be around player-driven economies. So back in the day when I played World of Warcraft, I used to play the auction market. Obviously, you can't cash out. So, I mean, you can like sell your account if you want, but in general, you can't cash out. So it was just for fun, but it was also fun. So I think there's a subset of gamers that enjoy this type of experiences that again the blockchain enables and enhances that experience as well. And obviously the social wagering side of things, where I would say like it's fun to, it's not, $1 is nothing, but winning $1 from Efe is worth a lot, right? It's super fun to win money from your friends.
Yeah.
So I think just having that kind of social wagering enabled by the blockchain is super exciting too. So that's category 1. I think category 2, which I think we're also exploring a little bit more, is we've seen like the slightly more degen side of thing, where there's financialization and speculation, and it's quite heavily intertwined with games, right? So even in fantasy football, for example, Fantasy United, which is the player trading cards that we have with Manchester United, the official Manchester United team. So actually being able to form fantasy leagues and actually win prizes, etc., money can't buy experiences using those cards, and then trying to predict what value there is in those cards I think that's another really exciting kind of quite novel speculative based use case that's enabled by blockchain and by Tezos specifically as well.
Yeah, that makes sense. And I would just like to add that the auction house for World of Warcraft that you mentioned was the first thing that came to my mind when I first was introduced to Web3 gaming and with its capabilities. Like, that's the first thing I thought about. Like, imagine having that on chain and everything, owning all those assets. That would be crazy. Okay, so I won't go to one by one. I would like, if anyone has any other input on that question, to just jump in. I don't know if you're covered or if you would like to add anything on that. I suppose we're good. All right, so next question. What's currently missing in Web3 gaming that could be the next breakthrough, in your opinions? Damien, maybe you would like to jump in on that?
Sure, I'll go for it. I think there are two things missing. The first one being simplicity, because as we mentioned earlier during the talk, there were a lot of complicated games starting with, and when you're a new game with a new tech, which is blockchain, and you want to onboard new players, it's hard to explain them like how your gameplay is different, what you have to learn, etc. So I think the simpler the better. We need to have a simple gameplay, very comprehensive, in order to onboard a lot of new people. And the second thing, which is independent of our will, is regulation. Because right now, for example, I think that every mobile game is struggling with maybe not Android so much, but like iOS. There are a lot of regulation. And I think that the day those regulation come to a change, it will be a big boom for the industry.
Yeah, we will probably see a lot of adoption at that point. I agree. Okay, so if nobody has anything else to add on that, I would love to go to Andrei and ask you, what are the biggest challenges, in your opinion, facing Web3 gaming today, and how does, actually, what are the barriers that prevent gamers from embracing Web3 games? That's what I would like you to talk about.
Yes. Let me think about it from a personal side.
Yeah, I put you on the spot. I'm sorry.
No, it's fine, because it's a good example, because I've been reading a lot about it lately, and I always was intrigued about it since 2 years ago, let's say. I think one of the main hurdles that you have. So I'm a user. I'm playing Parks Arena on Android. I'm playing it, and I like the game. I see that I'm really good in the practice mode. I'm playing that free for all mode. I see that I'm pretty good, and I see, I have this other mode. I can win 1 Tezos if I play around against other people. And then you have these steps to connect to the blockchain, and to connect to the connection between, let's say, Web 2 users and Web 3 users. I think that's the biggest one of the biggest challenges, because maybe I'm not that. I see a lot of things that I don't know about, and I say, okay, leave it. I'm not gonna do it. So the easier we do it as developers, as we do it for the users to see that it's not that complicated. It's pretty straightforward. That is safe. It's reliable. We've been testing Parks. We're developing it, so we've been testing it a lot internally, and we've been transferring a lot of Tezos between 20 wallets here and playing, and didn't notice any problems whatsoever. We didn't see any delay in the transactions. The fees are almost unnoticed.
So make it as seamless as possible, right?
Yeah. The more seamless it is, the easier it is for the traditional gamers like myself to enter and play and see what this is about. Maybe they like it, maybe they don't, but it's not that bad so far. And I would also say that it's a bit different now than how it was around 2 years ago, since when I started reading about this. The variety of the games were not that. I didn't like anything that I was seeing back then. Now it's a bit better. The games, I hope, are a bit more polished, and the quality is a bit more raised. And we also, thanks to the collaboration the Tezos blockchain, helping,
Yeah.
like you mentioned at the beginning of the call, not having studios and developers, okay, let's gather some funds before, let's do some IDO, let's do some token, and then using that funds, it helps a lot to just focus on, hey, we have a game, we want to have a Pac-Man fighting another Pac-Man. If you win, you get the Tezos. How do we do that? And we start thinking about doing that, not about other more
It's a point that I've discussed many times as well, that the developers or the game developers need to focus on the game itself to make it fun, to make it like a great experience for players. Because we've seen a lot of Web3 games in the early stages that weren't actually games, in my opinion, as I said before. But now we see this changing a lot. And thank you for that answer. There is another question from the community, which is, what is keeping traditional gaming studios from adopting blockchain tech for their projects? And I think that that would be a good question for Efe.
Yeah, sure. So I think there are two important aspects, right? The first one is the user audience, which are the gamers, is actually that they decide what they want and what they need and what needs to be built again. And then the second thing is the studio's familiarity with blockchain. So the first thing, users. I always talk about this. There is still a huge bias from gamers, especially mainly like PC console platform gamers. There are usually a bias which you can actually go and prove on any gaming forum. If you ask even one question about Web3, NFTs, tokens, and stuff like that, they are quite distant to it because of the past projects that you just mentioned, Cryptonio. Lots of projects came out, raised millions in their token sales, and didn't deliver anything but a DeFi sort of project, which obviously eventually failed. And then after this, unfortunately, all blockchain integrated games starts getting this kind of name tag. It's a scam. It's a bad game. Oh, it's a blockchain. It should be bad. So that's why we are trying to build actually useful and fun games to prove that this is actually a cool tech and you can do all of these with it. And then the second aspect from especially bigger game studios is that it might be hard for most of the people to wrap their head around this, because I think fundamentally and conceptually, blockchain is very different than what the game developers are used to. I'm talking about any kind of centralized server or setups. It's very different than what they are used to. And especially, if you consider a big game studio with a big game and you expect them to move some of their, let's say, items or some game mechanics to the blockchain, then they need to consider a lot of things, right? For example, okay, if this is decentralized, then the players will be owning these items. How will I keep making primary sales revenue? Or how do I need to act if a player is a bad person? And how do I ban them or delete their items, for example, because it's on a blockchain, I can't do that, and so forth. So they need to think very wisely. That's why I think it's taking a bit of time for larger game studios to explore. But I'm also, probably we're also kind of communicating with all of them to explore this tech, because in the end there is a value that has been created, that keeps being created by us and many others. So yeah, I would say these are the two main reasons, but this is to change.
Awesome. And one last quick question to, I would say, both Jeremy and Efe. What advice would you give to game developers transitioning into Web3? Short answer, or the first thing that comes to your mind. Any advice you could give them before we wrap up?
Yeah, very quickly, I think it's just focusing on users and narrowly defining who exactly your marginal single player the next player will be. So, in the case of Sugarverse, if it's match 3 players, you can't just say it's like the whole universe of match 3 players, right? You need to drill down a little bit more and say, hey, maybe these guys are a little bit tired of just simple single player Candy Crush. They are looking for a bit of the competitive aspect. And then once you really drill down, understand who these users are, obviously having focus groups and testing to make sure these are actually players who want to try your game, then really going out and acquiring the first few thousand users with that very clear message and audience in mind. So yeah, I think having a very narrowly defined target audience at the beginning is key for success.
That's a
Yeah.
great advice. Yeah.
I
Efe,
would
anything to add?
also, yeah, agree with that quickly. I would echo all of those, and I would say again, if you already have a game, find a pain point that you are trying to solve or you are trying to improve, and try to understand what a blockchain can help you or your players with. After you decide that, the rest is really easy. There are tons of tools both on Tezos and Etherlink that you can already start building and integrating, and you also got a whole team to back you up with it. So that part is easy. And then maybe a final thing, on the exact same YouTube account that anyone is watching this stream, there is a video that I recorded called Beyond Play, which is a quick workshop-ish thing where I talk about the exact same topic in detail, and I would also suggest watching that.
Awesome. Thank you so much for that. All right, what a session. A huge thank you to our incredible speakers for sharing their time, insights, and experiences with us today. It's kind of inspiring to see, how Tezos is making such a big impact in the gaming Web3 gaming space, and helping developers and players alike, like to try and reimagine what's possible in Web3 and the gaming space more specifically. So before we officially wrap things up, I want to give our speakers a quick moment to share any final updates, any news, quick news, or where is the best place for viewers to follow your projects. Let's start with Andrei, please.
Sure thing, thank you. Follow our project. You can follow us on our Twitter space, Parks Arena on Twitter, yeah. And you can download our games on Android store, and also search on Google. We have a website, parksarena.com, where you can directly play the game in the browser in the WebGL version.
Awesome. Thank you so much. And Damien?
Yeah, you can always follow us on Twitter, see what's up. But if you want to get the real alpha, you go in the Discord. And I know that our community manager Logan is very generous with the alpha. So if you want to know what's up, go in the Discord.
Awesome. Thank you so much. And Efe and Jeremy, where can people reach out to you if they are interested, to start building on Tezos?
Yeah, so for me, I'm on Twitter at Foo for Fun. So just feel free to DM me. We have a grants portal as well. So feel free to submit your applications there, and we'll definitely take a look.
Great.
For me, they can just find all my socials on my website. It's my name and surname, efekucuk.com, or just reach out to me on X. But just don't text me on Telegram. Cryptonio, you know about it. I always miss the message.
I know. Yeah. All right. Thank you so much. And to everyone watching, thank you for joining us today. Whether you are a gamer, a developer, or just curious about Tezos and Web3 gaming, we are thrilled to have you along for the journey. This ecosystem thrives because of people like you. And I guess that's all for now. Until next time. And GGTZ, I guess. See you at the next Tezos Town Hall. Take care, everybody. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thanks, guys.
Thank you,
Bye-bye.
everyone. Bye-bye.
Thank you.